Mike from Enola, PA. Jesse, you ever been there? Enola? Beautiful part of the country? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, some kind of statesman Jesse is. He said, what team or which team has the toughest schedule in your opinion? Now, Mike, as you may or may not know, we do sort of like a forensic audit of this every spring, but we haven't done it yet. So right now I have to use the good old-fashioned eyeball test to see who we think has the toughest schedule. It's probably going to come from the Big Ten or the SEC. Just stating facts here. I guess I could say Florida State could be in this group if I were going to go maybe a non-SEC or Big Ten, but it's all SEC, Big Ten teams to me. In the SEC, I think Texas has a pretty tough schedule. Texas has got a pretty tough schedule here because they play Ohio State on top of an SEC 9-game league schedule. And their first 4 weeks, they got Buckeyes and then at Tennessee. So they could go into that bye week. They could be 2-2, they could be 4-0, or they could be 3-1 and bleeding. But then they got OU coming out of that bye week. And by the way, there are no more byes after that. So Texas finishes with 8 in a row. And they got OU in Dallas and Florida and Ole Miss coming out of that bye week. And then they wrap up the season at Missouri, at LSU, back-to-back road games, Arkansas, and then at A&M. 3 of 4 on the road in November to end things. And you remember how shaky Texas was on the road last year. So I think that's a tough schedule, but I think Oklahoma's got a tough schedule too. Oklahoma, just like Texas, plays a huge Big Ten out-of-conference opponent in the first couple of weeks when they go to Michigan in week 2. They go to Georgia in week 4. So by the time OU gets to their bye week, they will have already played in Ann Arbor and Athens. And then they got to go to Dallas to play Texas coming out of the bye week. Look at their final 5 games because they got to play 8 in a row to finish the year too. Their final 5, it's South Carolina and then at Florida. And those are 2 total wildcard teams. Could be 5-win teams, could be 9-win teams, and neither would really surprise me. But Ole Miss, A&M at Missouri back-to-back-to-back. And really those 5 games back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back. It just makes it a really, really tough finish to the season. And then over in the Big Ten, look, it's very hard for Ohio State to ever have the toughest schedule in the Big Ten because Ohio State's normally one of, if not the best teams in the Big Ten, and it's impossible for them to play themselves. So it's very hard for Ohio State to have an overly tough schedule. This year, Ohio State has an insanely tough schedule, and they're not even on their schedule. But I'll tell you who is, Texas, and they got to go there in week 2, and then you add in the fact that they play at Indiana, at USC, at Nebraska, at Iowa, and they're throwing Oregon and Michigan into the mix, coming to Columbus. This is a really, really difficult schedule. It's the most difficult Ohio State schedule that I remember in several years, to the point where, I know it's early, that's the kind of team, that's the kind of schedule that makes you start saying, I could see a 3-loss Ohio State being in. You guys wanted to expand the playoff, not me. I'm just telling you because of the expanded playoff, that's the kind of conversation that could exist around them. Quick 5-second timeout. Check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It keeps it free. We love you. All right, back to the show. Arkansas, just to swerve back over here to swerve, bro, for just a second to the SEC. This is an annual tradition. Anybody who lives in Arkansas, anybody who's an Arkansas fan, yes. We all kind of suffer together here because you've got death, you've got taxes, and then you've got the SEC league office just putting a branding iron on Arkansas's face every year when it comes to scheduling. But here's the thing. How can I get mad at the league office when someone in Arkansas's own building said, hey, let's go to Salt Lake City this year. Let's play at Utah in week 2. You're going to tell me they're playing Utah and Georgia back-to-back. That's a real thing that's happening this year. Okay, so they go to Utah, then they got Georgia. They go to A&M a couple of weeks later. Utter brutality. They've got Tennessee. They've got at Vandy. So at A&M, Tennessee, at Vandy is back-to-back-to-back. And their final 5 games are Missouri, at Auburn, South Carolina, at Texas, LSU. And I keep repeating, this is a 1-bye-week year. So there aren't 2 reprieves. So there are several of these SEC and Big Ten schedules where someone's just got to rattle off like 8 games in a row. And there's no, you'll also notice there's no FCS team in there. Like there's no cupcake, there's no break, there's no time to breathe. But none of it to me is as bad as Northwestern. This is the Northwestern Memorial Show, even though they're still alive for now, because they play South Dakota State in week 1. Then they get a bye, much needed break in early September. And then the Big Ten has seen fit to make Northwestern death march their way to 11 consecutive games to close the season. They play at Indiana. They play at Oregon. They play at Ohio State. They play Penn State at home. They play Iowa at home. They play Illinois at home. They're going to mix Colorado in there and out of conference play. I didn't even mention just at Minnesota in late November. They've got Illinois at home to end the year. Like Illinois is a good team. You get half a dozen opponents deep on Northwestern's schedule. And you haven't even mentioned Illinois yet. And that'll be their 11th game in a row. God bless Northwestern. There's not much to say. We said all we needed to say on that the other day. FanDuel, exclusive odds provider of the show. Yes, I hope you guys had a very successful Super Bowl. Jesse won a couple of $100. Yep. None of us have seen a dime of it. None of us have seen a dime of it. I'm not even questioning that it happened. I don't doubt it happened. I think Jesse's a little stingy with his earnings. That's all I'm saying. I, on the other hand, would like to tell you that I am bringing you the opportunity to make money. If you go to FanDuel right now, you're a new sign-up, you bet $5, you win $100 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So go find a solid money line favorite. You know, they're probably favored by like 18 against the spread, college hoops, Iona on a Wednesday night, something like that. And just bet them on the money line. Bet $5 on the money line. You get $100 if/when that thing wins. The futures are up. Like, I know college football feels like it's a long way away, and it is. But the futures market's up right now. You can bet the Heisman right now. You can bet certain games against the number right now. Some of the week 1 and week 2 games are already up. So you can bet those right now, and there'll be a lot more filling of the shelves, so to speak, in the coming months when it comes to FanDuel and college football. I know it's a tough time. It feels like a barren landscape that we're all walking right now, but it does not have to be that way, and it won't be that way for long.